Artistic Gamer 7, and I'm back with another Sims 4 build video. So, I have quite a few builds sort of going on all at the same time, like build projects, but this one was randomly decided on very, very recently, and I started on it right after, like, the thought came to mind. Well, not necessarily to mind, but, right after deciding to do it, I literally started on it and I finished it like the next day. So I started on this project last compared to all the projects and finished it before most of the projects. So that's really great. But anyway, my friend Cassie, who you've seen in some of my videos before, was down the other day and she was actually fooling with her sim, like changing her sim's outfit, and also changed her house, her current house. And I was like, because she's on a little lot, and I was like, now this is just like your Sim's current home, like not your final home necessarily, so don't think about it then. She was struggling to learn all the build mechanics because she hasn't played Sims in a while, but it was pretty entertaining. But she was like building the house and stuff. I had to finish her current one, but she did most of it. But then she sent me a picture of this one house, and it was like, because I told her that her sim eventually probably would move out, that if she ever came across of a house like in pictures like on Google or whatever that would be like her dream home or a home that she would really like, to send me pictures. And she found a picture almost right away. I think she was still at my house if I remember correctly, and was like, can you make this in the game? And I was like, I mean, it looks like it may be slightly doable. Of course, there's going to be some things that are changed that I can't do exactly. And I was just texting her, asking her some questions and stuff about it after she had left, and the very next day, and that's when I had started on it. So this is what this is. She had sent me a picture. Now, the picture, I'm assuming, to me, it looked like it was the back of the house. Because with my experience, usually the back of the house, like where your pool's at, is usually the back of your house. So, and there was no pictures of the front. So the front half is like all just me deciding what it looks like. I only had pictures to reference the back half. Now, it's definitely not identical, but I definitely tried to get it as close. Of course, there's some limitations in Sims compared to real life builds. One of the things that I've seen in a bunch of recent pictures that I've sort of wanted to try to build in Sims, one of them being some of the inspiration that I use for Vaporeon's home, is that the pool gradient, where you have stairs leading down into the pool, or there's a section of the pool that's not as deep as the rest of it, that's obviously not something that's doable in The Sims. So that's a common one that I've ran into a lot recently, and this one had it too. It had stairs leading into one side of the pool, but I couldn't obviously do that, so there was that. But this house, honestly, I will say, like, in the picture, it definitely looked like it was going to be hard, but I didn't realize how hard it was going to be, especially not having a front as a reference. So the whole entire time, I was like, how is this going to look like? How do I want this to turn out to? So the whole entire time, I was, like, trying to figure and move things around, and it got very, very confusing. Like, trying to copy the back of this image and line everything up right and make the front look like it goes along with the back. I was confused for a big chunk of the time. But, you know, hey, it's helping me learn some new building skills, I think. I think this house is definitely a lot different than any of the houses that I've ever built myself. So definitely probably challenged me that way, and probably, I think it gave me new skill sets of building houses that hopefully, you know, I could use in the future. I'm actually loving taking, even if I only take like a part of an actual picture and I don't see the whole thing and just use a picture, I feel like that's been giving me like a lot in terms of building skills, like trying to do stuff differently and trying to have things done differently, and experimenting in the game itself to see if I can recreate it. I think that's helped me a lot. I will say I also have learned that I build houses probably bigger than they really need to be. Now, this one's still nowhere compared to the build that I made for Vaporeon's dream home, if you've seen that video, which I'm still working on furnishing the inside of that one. So those furniture videos are coming out, but not for a bit. I'm still working on it, but yeah, I may make houses a little too big. Like I don't think I realized like the size of the Sims compared to the house that I'm making. But it's still fine. Still works out. It's okay. Um Also, because I was also building this house, not only is it for my friend's my sim, but I also know eventually her sim is gonna start having like a married life and kids and things like that. So I had to think about like built like rooms and stuff like that. The rooms probably is where I really got confused. When I went to go put the inside rooms, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a bedroom, this is gonna be this and this. And technically that bottom floor is almost like a basement because it doesn't have any windows. I don't put any windows on the bottom floor. Because in the picture, I think this house is actually on a hillside. So I'm pretty sure if you actually legit saw this house in real life and you walked around to the front, from what I can tell in the picture, the front looks like it may actually be on ground level, but because it's on like a hillside, once you get to the back where the pool and stuff's at, it's actually hanged over and up higher than the ground. And this one little section that's near this roof piece that I already have here, in the picture it actually looks like they've let part of the hill actually still stay out in the house. I use trees and stuff to make it look like a natural little greenery area. Well, not necessarily natural, but a greenery area that they've left as part of the house. But, so I think that part actually had part of the hill actually still showing through. So I'm pretty sure the actual house this is based off of is on a hillside, but you can't do terrain stuff in Sims. So it just looks like a bottom floor that has no windows, which I still think it looks fine. I like the way it turned out. But I almost treated it almost like it was a basement. So I thought about, I didn't actually fill like the whole entire bottom section. I put like an outline around it, almost like that was like insulation or something for it, since it didn't have any windows also. So, but it was still so complicated filling out and figuring out the rooms to this build. Like, and I learned after I started actually decorating it that I made a lot of the, like, guest bedrooms or possibly future kid bedrooms probably are too big. I think, especially since the way I was treating them as of right now, they would only be guest bedrooms because currently her sim has no kids, so I didn't have a kid to really base off the room off of. I think once you have like a person to base a room off of, like a bedroom anyway, and it's not meant to be generalized for just anyone, I think that would have got a little bit easier if I would have known this type of sim that was going to be staying in that room. But it was really hard to actually try to fill the guest rooms up once I start doing the like furniture and stuff. But the furniture actually is not going to be in this video, so there will be another 1 or 2 videos. I took a really long time on the furniture. I think it's partially because this build is just, it is a pretty big size build. Again, not as big as Vaporeon's, but it's where it's stacked up so much. It's actually pretty good size, so there's quite a bit of floor. I think I ended up having, once I finished this build, I actually add and do some strange things with walls and stuff later when I'm actually giving the building furniture and stuff, because I realized like, oh, this is a pretty big size for a kitchen to be this open, and this bathroom is like, so I think I cut one of the bathrooms and made a laundry room and a bathroom. And the master bathroom and the kitchen, I end up doing like something I've never tried for either one of them. And I actually took what I did for this kitchen and I sort of applied the same idea into Vaporeon's kitchen, so, because I actually really liked it. But, so yeah, you'll see that eventually. That will be in a later video. But yeah, I really need to get to the point where I'm not building, like, so massive. So, you know, gonna have to work on that. But at the same time, I still really like how this turned out. I think it's a really nice build. I'm not really good at saying whether stuff is like contemporary, modern, Victorian, all that stuff. But if I had to guess, I would say this is definitely more of a modern build because the outside stays mostly black and white. But once the build is finished, I absolutely loved the outcome of it. The front part is where I put, actually, you'll see it in this video. It's the only furniture you'll see really in this video. I actually decorate some of the front part before ending the video, because like the front yard and things like that. So that's like the only yard space that technically this house has. So yeah, it's technically is a big house, but there's almost no yard. So that's the one downfall of this house. There's not much of a yard that, well, necessarily they can build on, and that's technically theirs. There's a lot of grass and stuff around their house, but not technically on their land, so they don't have like a lot of yard for themselves. That's the only downfall of this house. But anyway, I'm gonna let music play for the ending half of this video. These stairs, I was struggling so hard to figure out what to do with these stairs because I hated how the walls were like sunken in there. I do figure out something later on, but you'll have to see what I do later on. That will be in probably the next video featuring this house, so you'll have to wait and see that later. Yeah, I hope that you like this video. I will have screenshots, but they won't be until the very last video, so that it's the overall, because I didn't take any screenshots before I started doing objects in it. Probably should have, didn't think about it until after, but so those screenshots will be in either the next video or the third video. There won't be more than 3. I'm 100% sure about that. I haven't edited where I furniture it, so I don't know how much of the video I can cut down and take away, and also once I speed it up how all that stuff is gonna go. So I'll have to see later, but it may be 2 or 3 videos total. But eventually there will be screenshots towards the end. But I'm gonna let some music play for you all for the rest of the build. I hope you really like how it turns out. Like I said, I really love how it turns out. My friend who I'm building this house for, Cassie, she actually hasn't seen the full finish of it. I sent her a picture of the front and a picture of the back, but the front picture had some windows in it and the back picture had no windows in it yet. So once I start doing the windows, she hasn't seen most of it. So particularly the object, so if she gets to watch this video, I definitely want to know how she thinks about it. So, because she hasn't seen it. She hasn't seen once the final outcome. So, but I was super excited about it. It was tricky. It was a tough build, but I like how it turned out. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you are subscribed so you can see future builds. And recently I actually did a building makeover, so I might do some of those more often too. If certain households and things like that, I think their house really needs a makeover, might be doing more of those more often, because that was sort of fun, especially with the apartments, because the apartments really challenged me because I can't do certain things. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you share the video so others enjoy. There will be Sims 4 playlists down in the description below, so you can go check those out, as well as my social media, so you can go follow me on there. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Enjoy the music and enjoy the rest of the build.
Life is so easy. Give me your freedom. so easy. Give me your freedom. So selfless. Life is so easy. Give me your freedom. Give me your freedom. Life is so easy. Give me your freedom. So selfless. Life is so easy. Life is so easy. Give me your freedom. So selfless. Life is so easy. Give me your freedom. So Life is so easy. Give me your freedom. So selfless. Life is so easy. Give me your freedom. Give me your freedom. Life is so easy. Give me your freedom. So selfless. Life is so easy. Life is so easy. Give me your freedom. So selfless. Life is so easy. Give me your freedom. Life is so easy. Give me your freedom. So selfless. Life is so easy. Give me your freedom. Give me your freedom. Life is so easy. Give me your freedom. So selfless. Life is so easy. Life is so easy.